Fine job. Thank you, everybody that read and contributed. On the meeting, there are AA pamphlets back there, and there's books which are for sale at our cost. This says to ask for announcements. Does anybody have any announcements they'd like to? Hearing none. Tonight's as I said, an open meeting. We ask that all who attend this meeting respect the anonymity of all those that they see here or meet tonight. Who you see here, what you leave here, please let it stay here. Normally, in accordance with the 7 tradition, we pass the basket at the end of the meeting. We're doing it early tonight so that we don't interrupt the speaker while they're speaking, and if you leave while he's speaking, I want your money first. So. But that being said, if you enjoy what Glenn has to say, the basket will still be here to contribute more. So if you feel moved to give, please do. We are part of the speaker exchange. And if you are unaware of that, see me after the meeting, I'll tell you more about it. But what it does is we invite speakers in and we send speakers out to other meetings. Tonight we have the privilege of listening to a speaker that I've got to know over the last 3 years that I've been here in Greeneville. He's coming to us from Glen Cove, New York, by way of Chuckey, Tennessee. That's where he lives now. He's been there for a while. Yeah. You know, I had a sponsor years ago that said, speakers speak and chairpersons chair. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker, Glenn, and let him share his story.
Thank God. I don't know how long he was going to go for.
I'm trying to fill your time for you, buddy.
That's all right. My name is Glenn. I'm an alcoholic. And it's a privilege to be here. Thank you very much. I'm going to talk about how it was, briefly, because we all had our own crises, and we all got here somehow. And I think I have more things to talk about since I've been sober. So hopefully I'll be able to switch over sooner than later. I don't want to die up here and not get sober yet, you know what I mean? I've seen that before. So my mom died when I was 16. She had terminal cancer. My father knew about it a year prior, and he never told us kids. I have 2 other sisters, 4 years younger and 8 years younger. I was 15 at the time. They were, 11 and 7. And I was really annoyed that my mom was getting worse and worse, and I didn't realize it, you know, and then she started drooling, and we decided to have Christmas in November because he didn't think she was going to make it, you know. And we kids didn't know any better. And then she died. My birthday's in January, so she died just before my birthday. And I was really pissed off that she jeopardized my birthday. Selfish, self-seeking, self-serving, right there. 16 years old, and it was all about me, not about her, right? Anyway, I found out about a year later that he knew, my dad knew, that she was terminally ill. And the doctors told him, don't tell anybody, don't even tell her, which is the way they took care of it back then. That's back in the 1700s, you know. Anyway, so I was mad at him, and I'm just going to touch forward. I was mad at him for 25 years until I got into recovery. I was able to look at this from a different place. So she died at 16. I graduated at 17. As soon as I graduated and I was able to, I moved out. And I lived in a room. I snuck out in the middle of the night. Now, I had a bunch of 45s. 45 records are like this with a big hole in the middle. I don't know. I see a lot of gray hair, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I took all my 45s and loaded everything into the back of my car. Oh, you'd like this car. It was a 58 Mercury, no front bumper. Because the front bumper weighed about 600 pounds, it was up in the air like this, and the muffler was horrible. The oil, I never got oil to the rocker arm, so I had to change the whole rocker arm assembly every time it started clacking, you know. The oil light would always go on, so I glued a penny over the oil light. This is keen intellectual thinking, kids. You know, this is how you do it. Okay, so I moved out. I started working at a lumber company and fell in love with the donut shop girl who worked right next door. She lived in a room. She said, hey, you know, there's a room that became available in the house that I'm in. Why don't you move over there? Yeah, okay, fine. So now, one led to two, two led to three. For economic reasons, we decided to live together and stay in the same room. And shortly thereafter, I'm still 17, we got married. And we stayed married for 7 years. Now, if you're going to keep track, that's wife number one. There's going to be three. All right, so number one. So number one and I were married for 7 years. I went to college and became an electronic engineer. And, well, there were some problems we had, and she moved out. She took the dog, and I kept the apartment, fair split. And I started partying hardy. I mean, going to college, and right across the street from college was a pub, of course. And I used to get blasted in that place. So I'm now drinking like crazy. I mean, every night I'm going someplace and drinking. And I got married to wife number two. Wife number two was her father worked in the same place I worked. He was an electrician, a technician. I would draw up a circuit, and he would solder it up, and we would test it out. And I met his daughter, and he says, "You're not marrying my daughter, no way." And well, we got married. Wife number two. Wife number two and I had two kids, a girl and a boy, and that lasted about 7 years. But I liked partying, and she liked partying, but then she says, I can't do this as much as you can. I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm still doing it, you know. And that was the problem. I felt like I was overstimulated, you know. I wanted to be always on. I always wanted to be cranked. And frankly, by this time, I know this is an AA meeting, but I found better living through chemistry at that point, and it just helped me to drink more, frankly. You know, I didn't do it for the drugs. I never did downs or any of that. I was always into partying all night. You know, if you get where I'm going. All right, that's the end of the drugs. So, no, I mean, I don't want to talk about drugs so much. I do want to talk about how I felt like I always needed something. You know, and that's the real key for me. And if a little bit is the right amount and more is better, too much has got to be perfect, right? You guys can identify with that. So it's the same thing for, like, thank you for the brownies. I mean, I started pounding down these brownies, and I'm saying, I got to stop, slow down here. There are other people in the room, you know. She makes the best brownies. And then I got a large cup of coffee to make sure I stayed awake so I didn't fall asleep during the speaker. And I found out that she put not caffeine, what'd you call it? Something. She put something in the brownies. They're not funny brownies, are they? No, I'm not. I have to change my story. Okay. So, all right. I'm up to what? 2? Yeah, okay. So wife number 2 and I split up, and then I'm cranking. I'm just partying all the time. And, I moved out of the house with wife number 2. And I moved into an apartment on the other side of it's on Long Island. It's on the South Shore. I moved back to the North Shore where I was grown up. And I rented an apartment that was wall-to-wall carpeting with no furniture. And I remember sitting in the apartment with my back against the wall and my knees up against my chest and thinking about how empty this apartment was and how empty I felt inside. I later found out Father Martin called that the God hole. I had this God hole inside of me, and I wanted to fill it up with something all the time. So I went out. Monday night, it was this pub. Tuesday night, it was that pub. Wednesday night, it was another pub. Tuesday night was darts, actually. I always shot darts on Tuesday night with a friend of mine, John. We were in the dart team, North Suffolk Dart League. He was the president, I was the vice president. Of course, I got to be something, right? Oh, I can't do my story. Thank you. Almost lost it. Somebody wrote it for me. Yeah, North Suffolk Dart League. So I used to go to his place. He was a machinist, a welder, and we used to go to his office before the darts, and I would bring a bottle of Johnny Walker Red, and we would do shots of Johnny Walker, and he has a practice board. A practice board has thinner bullseyes, thinner outer rings and inner rings. So if you can hit those, then for sure you can do it in the tournament. I mean, we tried like 3 shots in a row, then we did 2 shots, then we did better living through, and then we did another shot, you know, and we tried to get these combinations where I could see straight, and frankly, it didn't work. I felt good, but it didn't work, you know. So, okay, I got to get sober soon. So, yeah, I'm shooting darts with this guy, and then I just had it. You know, I couldn't keep up. So I said, okay, I have to go do something about this. And now I'm still married to his wife number 3. And she says, you know, maybe you need to go to AA. Maybe you need to check. Oh, no, sorry. My God. That was wife number 2 said that. Okay, I'm going to back up. Wife number 2 said, you better go to AA. So I went to AA 1975. And it was a lot of smoke in the room, old farts. And I said, it looks like a lot like you guys now. And I said, you know what? I'm really not interested in this. And I walked out. 10 years later, I was working on my story for another 10 years before I came into AA. So now I'm with wife number 3. And I had a fight with my boss. And it was over a stupid thing. And I got really plastered. Sitting at the bar. You know, there's a bar on the way home, it's called the Barefoot Peddler. I would go up Glen Cove Road, and the front end would go out of my car, and I would go right into the lot. I don't know why it always happened. It just pulled right into that lot. I had a couple of shots and a couple of beers, and a friend from work came in, hey, how you doing? In New York, if you buy 3 rounds, the bartender buys the 4th round, you know. My friend came in, we each bought 3 rounds, the bartender bought a round. You can't turn down the free one, you know, you got it. So I'm getting really loaded. I come home, and now I'm in a blackout. I drank the blackout all the time. That was my goal. I felt that was successful drinking, going into blackout, because that was a place I wanted to be. So I came home in a blackout. And my wife was already sleeping. My dinner was on the dining room table covered with plastic like it's been many times before. And because I had a fight with my boss earlier, I jumped on top of her, put my knees on her shoulders with my clenched fist. I started beating her. I don't even remember this. This is how the story was told to me. I woke up in the spare bedroom. I never sleep in the spare bedroom. I woke up at 9 o'clock. I'm always to work at 8 o'clock. Suit and tie, the whole deal. I called my wife at her job, and I said, hey, what's going on? She goes, you don't remember? I said, no, I don't know. What happened? She said, you really don't remember? I said, no. She says, well, you'll see when you get home. I said, okay. When I came home, she was all puffy, black and blue, turning yellow. And she said, you have to go in front of the judge tomorrow. I have a restraining order out on you. I said, all right. Now, I've been in front of the judge before on DUIs. You know, by the way, if you're ever going to get a DUI, don't get drunk on a Thursday, like Thanksgiving, on Thursday, because you're staying there until Tuesday, just before you appeared in front of the judge. So anyway, I've been in front of the judge before, and I go in front of the judge, and he says, okay, I'm going to give you 6 months probation. And you can't screw up. And your wife wrote in 3 more stipulations into this thing. One was that I can't drink in the house. I went, okay, well, no problem. I'll drink in the backyard. We got a nice patio, nice backyard, you know, keen intellectual alcoholic thinking. Second stipulation was that I can't come home drunk. I said, well, I'll just have 2 beers. I don't know if you've ever tried the 2-beer trick, but third stipulation is I have to go to alcohol counseling. Oh, crap. Now what? I knew that they knew. I knew the jig was up. So I go there and I sit there like this. Okay, tell me how to drink like a normal person. What do I have to do? No, you need to go to AA. I said, okay. Well, what do I need to do there? You know, where is it? How do I do AA? So, well, let me tell you where it is. The Glen Head group, there's Glen Head, Glen Cove, yeah, okay. Anyway, the Glen Head group, which is my first home group, they have a beginner's meeting on Monday night, 6:45. And here's the address, and tell me how it is next week. I said, okay. I come in next week. She said, wow, how was the meeting? I said, you know, I lost the address. I forgot that what it was. You know, she said, no, you didn't. I said, yeah, I did, really did. She drew me a map, and it's right part of the railroad station. I mean, you can't miss it. Everybody parks in the railroad station parking lot. You look for all the people smoking outside. That's it, you know. Okay, I come back the next week. Wow, how was it? I said, you know, they locked the door just at 8 o'clock. I couldn't get in. She said, BS, they don't lock the door. You better go. You're going to be in violation. Okay. She reminded me that I don't want to see Bubba for a lover, you know. So I said, okay, I'll go. I'll go to these stupid A&A meetings and I'll see what's there. So I sat there like this, just like him. I'll sit there like this. You're welcome. And I saw, you know, I walk in, the smoke was like from my knees up to the ceiling. The ceiling was a low drop ceiling, you know. And I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And I'm going like this. And it was like the 80-year-olds again sitting around the outside. It looked like God's waiting room. I'm like, this is no good, man. I'm not interested in this crap, you know. But I saw the smiling faces and the dancing eyes. I saw the happiness. I saw the people grabbing each other, hugging each other, kissing, and having a good old time. And I'm saying, you know, they're doing a little something, something in the back room. I just got to find the guy who has the something, something, and I'll be okay. You know, I can do this. It wasn't that, of course. And a lot of crazy things happened. And I have to say, I learned much later, but I look back and I can see the pattern much more easily. Much more easily. Is it God or is it God? You know? On my birthday, my first birthday, they asked me to speak. It was 90 days. I had 90 days, and it was my birthday, and I'm telling my story. Now, I used to have a motorcycle. I had a 68 Harley Sportster, and I had an apartment that had a ramp going up to the kitchen door. So I pulled that bike right into the kitchen, and that's where it stayed. You know, I didn't have a garage, so I used to fry eggs sitting on the seat. What's the big deal? But I told that story at that meeting, and this guy comes up to me and says, hey, man, would you be my sponsor? And I'm 90 days sober. And I'm like, sure. I'm used to blind leading the blind here for sure. But anyway, I worked with this guy for a while. He met my daughter. I says, oh, someday I'm going to marry her. I says, over my dead body. I know your fourth step. You're not marrying her. He married her. Bad marriage. Anyway, that's another story entirely. He OD'd years later. Yeah. Tough story. He never really got it, you know. But anyway, so now I'm going to the Glen Head group. And I'm starting to really get into this group. I'm enjoying it. And I'm saying, you know, I want to do something for this group. I'm so grateful for this group for keeping me sober. So I said, I go up to this old guy, Fred. Fred used to throw his hat all the time. He used to call him, "Throw your hat, Fred." And his baseball cap, just throw it across the room to make the point. Anyway, I go up to Fred. He had about 30-something years when I came in. I said, "Fred, I'm really grateful for being sober. You guys really helped me. I appreciate it. My marriage is together again. I'm in the big bed. Whew, this is going to be, it's going to be okay. I want to buy a case of big books. Now, I don't want to buy those little flimsy, soft-covered books. I want to buy the hardcover books, like, well, not those, but you know what I'm talking about. I want to buy a hardcover. Now, at the time, they were the same price, $5. But I didn't know that. I said, I want to buy the hardcover books, the big ones. He said, well, instead of doing that, why don't you become the book chairperson? I said, well, what's involved with that? He said, well, that's where you set up the books on the table over here. You set up the pamphlets over here. And if somebody wants to buy a book, you give them the book. You take their money, put it in the basket. And when you run out of books, you buy more books from the treasurer. Okay, I can do that. Got to be careful of these old timers. He became the book chairperson 3 weeks before. And he went, "Here, kid, you do it." Pain in the ass. So we had it's like a speaker exchange. We had this outgoing commitments, and we would have 3 speakers, 2 speakers and a moderator. So 2 30-minute speakers, 20-minute speakers and a moderator. And he said, would you be the moderator? And he and another guy were going to go out to speak. I said, sure, that'd be great. And we go there, and on the way, he's going, oh, I'm getting a cough. You better speak. I can't do it. He did it to me again. So he became the moderator, and that was the first time I ever spoke. It was in an auditorium with a sloped seating. 200 people in the audience, a microphone, a podium in the front. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. It's okay. It's okay. Is it odd or is it God? It's fun. So, where am I? Am I sober yet? Yeah, I am. So, I got a little cheat sheet here I got to go through. So I didn't buy the books. I became the book chairperson. And then I became GSR. Well, I became treasurer of the group, and then GSR, and then DCM, and then DCM at large for the county, which is 300 groups. So I was really involved with service, but I didn't like the service structure so much. The assemblies, it was like a little too much. So, but I wanted to stay in service because service is really what it's all about. I didn't realize it at the time. Like I said, looking now, back then, it's easier for me to see. On page 77, it says our real purpose is to be of maximum service to God and others about us. It's part of the spiritual roadmap, which I'll talk about later. I didn't realize that I yearned for this service. I wanted to do more. And so I became the Thursday night jail meeting. I would go there every Thursday. I did that for 8 years. I don't know how many days I missed, but you can count them probably on 1 or 2 hands out of the 8 years. I went every week. I did a big book study in the women's section, which was kind of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was at that time when I'm an electronic engineer working on military contracts, and there was giant layoff. They just cut back on all the military contracts. And I got laid off, and I said, oh, crap, now what am I going to do? And I go to this noon meeting that I used to go to in my hometown, and I said, I know I'm in good hands, like Allstate. I'm in good hands. He's going to take care of me. It's going to be okay. I just don't know what's going to go on. About 3 weeks of looking for a job, there were 50,000 engineers that were laid off on Long Island at the time. There's no way I'm going to get a job. I'm competing against PhDs, et cetera. So I come back into that meeting, and I said, man, I'm having a hard time. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't get a job. And somebody said, hey, didn't you say you're in good hands? Are you believing it or not? So is it odd or is it God? that the first time I'm going there, like, yeah, I'm cool. I know God is going to take care of me. And 3 weeks later, I'm like, oh, man. And you guys remind me, God is going to take care of me. So we can do together what I couldn't do by myself, right? So by this time, I was copying my friend's cassettes. Cassettes are a little thing about this big. You take a pencil. And I had this 1-to-1 tape recorder, which would copy a 90-minute tape in 90 minutes, okay? And it took forever to get these tapes that I borrowed from these guys. But I collected 100 of them, and I had them in these little cubby holes in this square thing. And I said, this is really great. And I typed up the list of all of the talks I had, and I went to a local, I almost said head shop. A local recovery store. Same kind of thing. Yeah, it really is. They both have incense. Anyway, I went in there and I said, look at these tapes I have. You know, I can make copies for you, and I'll sell them to you for $3 a piece. You can sell them for $6, and we'll both be happy. So she starts checking them off. My eyes go like this. She checked off 30 of them. I'm like, this is great, you know. She said, I'll take 3 of each. I went, holy crap. We're talking $900, right? Math guy? Yeah. So I got to check. So I go out to my car. My wife's waiting for me in the car. I said, Jane, give me your American Express card. I blew out all my cards by this time, okay? I'm not good with plastic, right? Right. So she said, what do you want my American Express card for? I said, well, I'm going to buy this machine. It costs $900, but as soon as I get it, I'm going to make these recordings for this woman, and when I get the check, I'll give it to you, and we'll be good. She goes, all right, but yeah, I promise. That's how Glen K Audio started, and that's how I started recording cassettes, right? I decided, well, if a little bit is the right amount, more is better. Too much has got to be perfect. So I started going to conventions, and I went to, my first convention was Western New York, near, it was in Olean, New York. And I had 2 other guys that were going to come with me. It's about an 8-hour drive. So we get there. Now, the night before, I'm saying, okay, I need 3 pads. No, 2 pads. No, 4 pads. We'll get 4 pads, pens. Maybe I should get pencil all night. I'm thinking about the things that I'm going to need, right? Microphones. Got to make sure I got microphones. Cables. How many cables do I have? I mean, it's endless. So that was my first convention. At that first convention, I heard an 11-step workshop. And here's where a guy said, this is what I do for my 11th step. And he talks about he gets up in the morning and he reads certain paragraphs out of the big book. I went, oh, that's pretty cool. Now, I am like wired, my first convention, you know, and I got all these things in my head. These 2 guys are working for me. I don't know how I'm going to pay them. I mean, it's endless. But I get home and I listen to that tape and I was like, this is really cool stuff. And I rewound it, remember with the cassette, rewound it and played it back, and I started writing down the paragraph numbers. And I started listening to that stuff on a regular basis, reading that stuff on a regular basis. And it became the spiritual roadmap, which some of you guys do in the morning. You know, on awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead and all that. And it's a great overview of the program. By the way, a little commercial here. December 6th at 10 o'clock, I'll be doing the spiritual roadmap at the Lunch Punch group. If anybody's interested, bring your big book, a highlighter, and a pen. And I hope I excite you for what I'm telling you in the story, that you'll come and do it too. Anyway, back to the story. So the spiritual roadmap was a great way of paying back, you know, of paying back this program and giving it to others. One of the greatest joys one of the greatest joys I have is I went to a meeting in Virginia. I forgot what reason, but anyway, I was in Virginia, and a guy talked about, yeah, I do this roadmap thing. I've never been in Virginia. I don't know how he got it, but there it was, and he started talking about all the paragraphs. I was like, this is cool. It has a life of its own. It's going out there and it's spreading. I felt so good. Okay, now we're going to talk about the point system. You get 1 point if you do something nice for somebody and you don't have to tell them you did it. You get 2 points if you do something nice for somebody and you don't tell them. Did I screw it? I screwed it up, right? Would you tell it for me? Come on up here. Okay, 1 point if you do something nice for somebody. Right. 2 points if you do something nice for somebody and you don't tell them. And 3 points if you do something nice for somebody and you don't tell anybody. The 3 pointers are hard. I just lost my 3 points telling you guys this. But that's okay. I really think that that's what it's all about. It's about passing it on, you know. It's about sharing it with others. And you know what? I keep going back to like this. Our real purpose is to fit ourselves to be of maximum service to God. When I'm in service, I'm not thinking about me, my favorite subject, right? I'm not thinking about me anymore. I'm thinking about you. How are you? How's your sick dog? How's your mom? You know, whatever. What a difference. And it seems like when I'm thinking of you, all my problems seem to go away. I don't have any problems. Another thing is when I'm thinking of yesterday, that's where my problems were. When I think of tomorrow, that's where my fears are, right? But if I'm in the moment right now, I don't have any of that. I don't have any of the resentments, any of the fears. Right now, right this minute, things are okay. Things are going just the way they're supposed to go. You guys taught me that. I mean, I tried a bunch of different, Zen Buddhism, contemplating your navel home, all that stuff, and I never got to the place where I got to. I can't even talk. I never got to the place as I have gotten with you folks. There you go. So, I love to travel. I love to travel. With this job, doing Glen K Audio, I was able to go all over the country. I was in Hawaii 3 times a year for 20 years. And we would go an extra week every time we went there. I could give tours of Maui, Oahu, and the Big Island. I love it. I'd go into Costco on the Big Island, and I'd see a checker. Oh, hey, Glenn, how you doing? They know me over there. It's so cool. So yeah, I love to travel. And I did Joe and Charlie over 50 times. And I wrote down in my big book. I have a big book. I should bring it in one time. You guys can see it. All the speakers that I recorded signed my big book. The first edition, reprint. But it's pretty cool. And I have Joe and Charlie over 50 times. I recorded them. So I can almost do it verbatim. Some of you guys heard it painfully slow. And the lunch bunch when I went through the big book study. Because I know their stuff. I know their shtick, their jokes, the stupid jokes. But that's okay. It's fun. But service is the kick. I come into my home group early. I stay late. I make the coffee. Dump the grounds. Take out the trash. Whatever needs to be done. Set it up. Put the little Twinkie lights out for the morning meeting. I love it. I really do. I go to a morning meeting on my Zoom. Actually, I found that's another thing. 5 years ago, COVID hit, right? And lunch bunches in a municipal building, they closed early. That day, I opened up the lunch bunch group online on Zoom. And you came once or twice, and Jimmy, I think, came a couple of times. That group is still going today, 7 days a week. I was doing 7 days a week for 4 years until, whatever it was, 3 years until we got back in to the meeting. Not so much that I'm bragging about it, but that I believe in doing that for AA. AA has given me so much. Why not? I mean, we're in the gratitude month, right? Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. November, right? But really, and Thanksgiving especially, right? We're at the peak of the gratitude, gratitude today, yesterday, this weekend. And if you're so grateful for being sober and for your group, then do something for your group. For crying out loud, it's not that much. Just come a little early. Set up the chairs, set up the coffee, something. You know, we can talk gratitude, but are we doing gratitude? That's the deal. And when I do gratitude, I'm not thinking about me. My worst subject, really. When I think about me, that's when I get in trouble. So now, I'm doing this, I started this speaker show. I was talking to Scott. I said, hey, we should do this. He goes, yeah, let's do it. He's pushing me. Okay, we'll do the speaker exchange. This is how we did it in here. Well, maybe we should do it a different way. No, Scott, this is the way we do it. So, he's a pain in the ass that way. So the speaker exchange, a bunch of us go meet quarterly, and we set up dates. And one of us, our members of our group, goes to another group at a certain day, and one of their group comes to our group or to another group. We swap speakers, so we don't have to hear the same crap all the time. You know, we get tired of hearing our own stories over and over and over. So I love doing stuff like that. The one we had in New York, and I'm trying not to do a comparison, but it was in Nassau County. Nassau County has 360 groups. And when we do a speaker exchange, there might be 150 groups that are part of the speaker exchange. It starts at 9 o'clock. People get there at 7:30 to make sure that they get all their holes filled on the calendar. I mean, it is pandemonium. But that's what it's like to be of service. You know, that's what it's like to be involved, to be involved with this thing called AA. And when we're involved, we get better. It's a crazy thing. It doesn't seem like it would work. It seems like I need to go to more meetings. You know, more is better. I said that before, right? A little bit is the right amount. More is better. Too much has got to be perfect. More meetings, more meetings. No, just be more diligent. You know, when you go to the supermarket, take the buggy and push it back into the corral. Bring it inside the supermarket. Help the little old lady with her bags. I was in Costco last month, and I saw a woman taking her bags and struggling to put it in her car. So I helped her put the stuff in the car. I'm losing points like crazy tonight. Put the stuff in the car, and then I take the shopping cart. I said, I'll return this for you. She goes, oh, thanks. She said, you know, I did the same thing when I got this cart. I'm like, there you go. That's what we're talking about. So last week, I was at Sam's putting the stuff in my car. Somebody came by and said, I'll take that shopping cart and bring it back. Thank you. There you go. If we all did that, wouldn't that be cool? Instead of mumble, 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 mumble. So, I'm running out of steam. But I go 7 days a week. Not that I need it, that I want it. I love going to meetings. Like I said, when COVID hit, I started the Lunch Bunch group, and then Sober Start, which is my old home group on Long Island. They had a meeting, and somehow I ran into somebody online or something, and he told me, oh yeah, we're on Zoom. Why don't you come on? I've been on that meeting every day. We do a different meeting every day. It's a literature-based meeting. Every day is literature-based, except Saturday is a speaker meeting. There's some great sobriety there. We get 85 to 100 people every morning. 6:30 in the morning. Some people from California at 3:30 log on every day. People in Europe log on every day. Why? Because it's a good meeting. It's a solid meeting. I'll tell you, literature-based meetings are really good meetings. Rather than, you know, oh, my cat bit my dog last week. Who gives a flying, you know? when you're back in the book, when you're back in the AA, when you're studying what we're talking about. Do you know that if you look at, I'm looking at the pamphlets, the little one over there, I don't know if that's it. Problems other than alcoholism. It's a little one, and it opens up to 4 sides, not many pages. If you look on the inside, it says the real purpose of a meeting is to teach the 12 steps. How about that? It's not to have coffee and cake and tell jokes. It's to teach the 12 steps. Are we really teaching the 12 steps? Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Well, what it says we're supposed to be doing? I don't know. Take that back to your group. Think about it. You know, what do you want to do? Do you want to pass this on, or do you want to just pass on jokes? We can do that too. But I'll tell you what, that meeting that I go to at 6:30 in the morning is packed. It's packed with AA. Not just people, it's packed with AA. I love it. I got my head screwed on straight when I go to that. And then I go to the 8:30 meditation meeting over here in Lunch Bunch. I'm good. I'm good for the day. Thanks for starting that, and I appreciate that. Well, you were a good part of it. Thank you. So I think that's all I got. I'm going to shut the hell up. Thank you, guys. Good job,
All right. Now you follow that up. Thank you, Glenn, for coming down and sharing your story with all of us.